Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Good evening, Realm Tribe. How you doing? We are about 11 minutes behind schedule. I apologize for that. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's another Friday. It's another Friday. Yes, want to see those that have joined us. Like I said, I apologize for coming in late. We are about 10 to 12 minutes behind schedule. How has your day been? And for those that are still at work, how's it going? How's it going? I want to see the viewers we have. How's it going? Good evening. Hello, we are not taking you joining us for granted. And we are not taking this as just a waste of your time. And we appreciate you for everyone that has found time to join us, where we learn, unlearn, and we will learn about a marriage. Hello, Instagram. We say we honor you all. We appreciate you. We celebrate you all. Thanks for joining in. Last week, we started a discourse on why marriages fail. And we are going to continue today. Thank you, Olamilekon, for joining in. I'm sure you are also learning. So we had explosive discussions. We had beautiful contributions last week from those that joined us, because we can have 1,001 reasons why marriages fail, but we do not just want to stop in the why. Like I said last week, many times when there are issues, we tackle the why and we tackle the how. So we had contributions from our viewers last week, and we realized amongst things that were mentioned were lack of commitment, information overload, managing expectations. And we promise that we're going to start with this week. We're not going to go into other aspects because it's important we get feedback from our viewers. Thank you, Bolanle Oluwole, for joining. We are celebrating, man. It's good to have you live. Please share this video. Share this to as many that you think or you know this will be beneficial to. And please, I want to see your hello. Please make use of the comment boxes on the Instagram live and the Facebook. Please make use of the comment boxes. Let's hear from you. Why do marriages fail? And this evening, we'll be looking at the aspects, one of the reasons why marriages fail, from the aspect of the managing expectations. Expectation management is so key when it comes to relationships and marriage. And thank you. One of our viewers that brought this up was Emeka Ibuagu. Thank you, sir. It's so good to know that you're always live with us. We celebrate you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And so, expectation is part of our human action or reaction. Many times we have been disappointed. Many times you have been wowed for one reason or the other that is tilted towards expectations. But we've seen that sometimes also we allow our emotions to be run by the outcome of the expectations or the outcomes that expectations present to us. What do we mean by managing expectations? And how can this affect our relationships? How can we overcome challenges that have arisen that will arise from expectation management? These are the things I want us to discuss tonight. I want to use this opportunity to welcome our first joiner on Instagram, Diner with Love. Thank you so much for joining. We appreciate you. Thank you. And Moturaya Willoughby, happy to be here. Yeah, it's so good to see you too. Moturaya Willoughby, please share with your friends. Thank you, ma'am, for joining. And so, what are expectations? Is it right to have expectations? Is it wrong to have? Would you just go into marriage or relationship or even any kind of friendship without having an expectation? Expectation is cardinal as regards to purpose, the purpose of any relationship. And so that's why it's critical for us to look at expectation management as it has to do with relationships. So it's very, very important. It helps us to either respond or react to things. I often tell people that prepare for the best, but expect the worst, because we are all humans. You may not be in charge of how people react to you, but you are 100% in charge of how you interpret their reaction as it affects your emotions. Let me take that again. You may not be able to influence how people react to you, how people relate. You may not be able to control that, but you can control the meaning that is generated by that occurrence or through that occurrence. I had one of my neighbors visit me yesterday, and I told her the same thing. And I said, I have gotten to a level in my life when the action and reaction of anyone would not determine my inner peace. And you cannot be sentimental or emotional about your life. And that is why you need to get this very clearly. And when we are discussing this, we are also relating it to our significant other. I'm not talking about general friendship. It should get to a level in your life that even your wife or your husband must never determine your happiness. And that's a level of wholeness that a healthy human being should get to. Once we are able to navigate this process, expectation management from your spouse or your spouse-to-be will become a lot more easier hurdle to cross. And I'll close that session with this. Never allow the challenges outside of you or the hell outside of you determine or redefine the heaven within you. Because every human being is a meaning-making machine. You are a meaning-making machine. There is nobody that comes into marriage or marital relationship that does not have a terrific expectation. You have a standard. You know what your heavens, what you desire in your heavens. You know what you're looking up into. But please, I am encouraging you from this moment to be sure that whatever expectation you are anticipating from your spouse or your spouse to be. You should be the owner of the thermometer, or you should be the thermometer yourself, such that when the human nature comes in a way you don't expect, it will not throw you off balance. And I hope somebody is getting some lessons or some clarity. Motumara, let me look at the comment from Motumara. We love you. Action and reaction of people must not determine my inner peace. Yes, it must not determine your inner peace, regardless of who that person is. Like I told the lady that came visiting yesterday, and I said, if I choose to get angry, if I choose to react, I must have pre-told myself that, Nike, you want to be stupid at this time. Because I must be able to choose how I react to things or how I respond to things. That's a level of emotional wholeness. So what can we do when expectation management becomes a disappointment to us as individuals, especially when we are in a relationship or when we are already married? What can you do? Thank you, Dr. Inka Dewumi. Secure your inner peace. Don't let external forces distort your inner peace, no matter where it's coming from. That's fantastic. It's just absolute. No matter who is bringing it. The same people that said, Hosanna, Hosanna to Jesus, are the same set of people that said, crucify him. So the person that will hurt you at this point may be the person that loves you the most. So don't get too disappointed. Protect your sanity, protect your serenity, protect your inner peace. And you get a lot more better with such. So what can we do? Let's just quickly look at what I have here. I welcome your comments. I welcome practical sessions when you have stories to back this up. Have you been disappointed? Did you feel disappointed in yourself or in your spouse? Or did you have an experience with somebody that caught you off point? That's why we are here. That's what we are looking at. What are those steps we need to take? Number one, you have to be realistic with situations and circumstances. You have to be realistic. How do we mean by being realistic? The realistic aspect is that you should know that you are two individuals that have become one, or that are on your way to becoming one. Everyone in a marriage ought to be single. What do we mean by singleness? The fact that you are single does not mean that you are lonely. The level of singleness is the level of aloneness. You are single, you are whole. Adam, when God created Adam, Adam was not lonely. Let's get that straight. Adam was not lonely. He was single, but not lonely. He was alone, carrying out purpose. Every lonely person in a relationship or in marriage will consistently have unmet expectations, because everything you want to achieve, either financially, emotionally, spiritually, you make it look as if without your significant other, you cannot achieve purpose. The fact that you are in that marriage does not mean that as an individual, you do not have your mind, you do not have your will, you do not have your emotion. But marriage will only make you integrate your mind, your will, and emotion so that you come out stronger together. So the first level of what we are talking about is that you must be realistic. You must be realistic that you are two different people that have come together to do marriage. You must be realistic that you are two different people that have different backgrounds. You are two different people that your strength and weaknesses vary. You are two different people, that the way you get angry, the way you are calm is different. And you cannot force or shove things at the throat of your spouse, such that when something you don't even expect triggers your peace, your will, triggers your emotions, then you come back to that reality that this guy, this lady has just displayed what it means to be who he is or who she is. But many that are lonely, that's why we always encourage singles. I was speaking to somebody today. Apparently she's quite old, and we're trying to fix we're trying to connect and spur a relationship to happen. I have been on this with her for quite a while, for a couple of months, if not a year. But I sensed at some point, I sensed some level of desperation in her. And I calmed. I just stalled a while. Why did I stall? I realized that if she goes into any marriage at that level with the desperate mindset she has, that marriage will be troubled. Yeah, she's almost in her 50s. She desperately wants to get married, and she also desperately wants to have a child. At that point, I had to sit her down and ask her a major question, a bitter question, that what if in the next 20 years, marriage is not coming? What will you do better? And she looked at me, she was shocked. Somebody that is like almost 50, and I'm coming up with this question, that what if she's not going to get married in the next 20 years? It's very possible. Because I wanted to really, really downplay or outplay that desperate mindset she came with. I wanted to flush it out of our system. Because a desperate person will be lonely, because you believe that there is an aspect of your life that only marriage will make you fulfill. There is an aspect of your life that if you are not married, you can't do this, if you can't do that. And that's the lie of the devil. Because everything we need to be empowered and to fulfill purpose has been given to us at our single state. And so we must get that clearly, that it is only two single people that understand the purpose of marriage that can do marriage well and right. So at that point, I blanked out of her for like months so that she could get herself, and she came out of it, and we are back on track with the procedure of getting into a relationship with whoever we are convinced they can be introduced together with. So at that level, the moment you are realistic, you know that there is no human being that can disappoint you. There is no human being that cannot fall your hand, just like they say. So at the level that you are realistic, you now realize that your life is not in the hands of anybody. It's in your hands. So let's move on. Number 2. And before we move on, let me quickly appreciate Pastor Alaba Olawumi. Thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you, ma'am. God bless you. We welcome your comments, welcome your questions as we go ahead. The next thing I want to talk about is the level of awareness. How aware are you? Another question we also ask singles in counseling is this: that if you are in that marriage eventually and children don't come in the next 5, 6, 10 years, what will you do? Some will come and say, I reject it in Jesus' name. But many that are having delay in childbirth, they did not plan for it, but it happened. If you did not have a plan as to how to navigate challenges in marriage. Such challenges will break you down. And when they're in the counseling room and I ask such questions, I see many of them get very startled. I see many of them get so surprised that we're asking that question. Yes, we need to prophesy, but the reality is that there are some things all of us might have planned for before we got married, and we're not getting everything. Like the songwriter says, by and by, when the morning comes, we would always understand it better by and by. You plan to build your first house when you are 30 or when you are 27, it's not coming. You plan to own your massive business, it's still being delayed. You plan to have your first child at 27, you're not getting it. But what are you to do? You ought to be aware of the circumstance. You ought to be aware of the situation. You are aware of the vulnerability of your spouse. You are aware of the stressors of each other. What level will you get to that it will almost be as if you are losing it? Communicate that with your spouse or your intended spouse. These are the questions you ask in counseling room. That what can be done to you that will almost break you, that will get you really angry, that will make you feel betrayed, that wants to make you cry. We want people to talk about this. The essence is that your spouse or your spouse to be will be better equipped as to managing such circumstances when they begin to happen. And you yourself, perhaps you are going through mentoring and coaching. I have one of our mentors and coaches in the house. As a matter of fact, there are two I can see right now. Dr. Inka Adewumi. Pastor Inka is in the house. Pastor Alaba Olawumi is in the house. These are two coaches that I know so well. So it will help you when you are aware about yourself, you are aware about your significant other, you are aware about the situation that is almost challenging you, challenging your marriage. You are better armed. Because like I keep saying, if you don't know why, you may not know how. So awareness makes you navigate your expectation management better and proper. Number 3, and this still has to do with communication. Communication. Oh yeah, I saw what Pastor Lava wrote here on the comment box. Yes, you are right. We are not always true to ourselves. The reasons for marriage is not clear, but we run into it. Yes, because many of us, as a matter of fact, in our own generation, nobody prepared us for marriage. The best we were prepared for was wedding. As a matter of fact, the church will ask us for dress rehearsal. Rehearsals will come in. We'll get in with our wedding dresses to our churches 3 days before the wedding. They want to rehearse how the bride and the groom will come into the church. They want to rehearse the processional hymn and the recessional hymn. They want to rehearse the vows. They want to rehearse so many things. But one thing we don't prepare for is the marriage itself. So you're right. Many people just found themselves in marriage. Marriage happened on a lot of us. And that's why we're trying to change the norm. I was meditating on some things this afternoon, and I realized that generationally, cultures have changed due to what is happening technologically. Things are changing globally. But one thing that we have struggled to change is how we do marriage. One thing we have struggled to change is how to learn, how to explore. Because I remember, okay, when our forefathers were alive, they were conveying things internationally through ship. There was no vehicles. Vehicles came. When, David sang with harps and some local musical equipment. Now we have technologically driven equipment. We have drums. that you don't have to use the stick to jump. But one thing that is almost static is how we do marriage. You see a man whose grandmother was working, was not doing anything at home, always constantly serving her own husband. And the lineage of that grandmother still wants the wife to do that 365 days a week. It's not going to work because things are changing. In those days, women were kept in the house. How many men want the women that would not work these days? If you even truly want such women, how many can afford the luxury of their wives staying at home? Remember, when you have such wives staying at home, you must be ready to pay her salaries. Perhaps salaries that will equate the kind of job that she needs, that she has to do. And that is for a woman whose purpose is not beyond money. For some, their purpose is beyond the money or the salaries you're giving. And so when culture and dimensions are changing, we have not rehearsed that in marriage. We want to do marriage the same way we are doing, they did marriage in 1940 something, 1930 something. It's not going to work. And these are the challenges we are having. And these are the reasons why unmet expectations, especially now, are rising in marriage. We have a lot to discuss. We have experiences. We have many. I have a couple that it has become so embarrassing. They've dragged themselves on social media. Families have dragged themselves on social media. Banters are counter banters due to unmet expectation. And so when these things begin to happen, how do we navigate? Welcome on board, Sheyi Oshewa. Thank you. That's another fellow professional. Thank you. We celebrate what you do. Sheyi is a grief therapist. She's a grief therapist. She's a coach for widows, widowers, single parents. So if you are one of such people, and talking to them about emotional serenity. Thank you, Sheyi, for what you're doing. Thank you. And we have Pastor Sheyi Ogunwale. God bless you, sir. It's good to have you here. And I believe this is about your first time. So I'm giving you a clap. This is your first time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I celebrate you. So when you have situations like that, what do? Be clear and candid. When you have a present challenge with your spouse, with your fiancé or your fiancé, be clear and candid. Discuss it. One of the mentees close to us sent something to me this afternoon about a challenge, and this was a recorded video of what transpired before the marriage. Having listened to what transpired before the marriage, I felt so sad because the video was enough to call off that marriage. Unfortunately, that marriage is gone now. If you had such banters, it's enough, a major red flag, and you still went ahead with that marriage. And they are back. So these are the things painfully we see, and it pains us to the marrow that all these things ought to be avoided. Be clear and candid. When unmet expectations begin to happen, face it. Face it. It's very important to face it. And what is the genesis of the unmet expectation? Kindly permit me, I have a board here, and I believe that hopefully you'll be able to get the rhythm of the bird. I want to show you something from this board. I want to show you something from the unmet expectation that we are talking about. And when you look at this that I'm presenting to you, many marriages started with I hope you can see what I'm writing. Many marriages started with Mary weds Joseph. And as they started with Mary weds Joseph, there are a lot of overt and covert story behind Mary weds Joseph. And what everybody is seeing is Mary weds Joseph. But what is the purpose behind Mary weds Joseph? What was in Mary's mind? What was on Mary's mind when Mary was getting married to Joseph? Nobody knew. Perhaps Mary did not communicate everything to Joseph. But could it be that in Mary's mind, another title for her name was overage? She suddenly married Mary and Joseph, and she was happy. Joseph was not seeing this. Joseph did not know that Mary desperately married him because Mary felt she was running behind the time. These are, thank you, Pastor Inka, you're confirming you can see it. These are examples of things we see. Sometimes, what if Mary is more financially stable? And in Joseph's mind, Joseph is seeing Mary as another ATM. As another Mary did not know that this is Joseph's covert intention going into the marriage. Joseph did not know that this is Mary's covert intention of going into the marriage. The moment Mary is going into the marriage, she has shared testimony. The whole family and the village now knows that Mary is now Mrs. Mary. She begins to show some attitude to Joseph, and it becomes unmet expectation. Can we have other reasons, other points that can be here? Some are here because of green card. Some are here because of green card. The moment they used the lady or the guy to cross to the country of their choice, they begin to see those things that they are not physically prepared to see in each other. Because at the point of courtship, their focus was majorly on green card. And those things that they were meant to take note of while in that courtship or relationship, they lost focus on that. But the moment this is achieved, they now look at it. Mary is not that beautiful. Mary has tires. Joseph has cane leg. Joseph's English is terrible. There will be a lot of excuses. Those excuses have been there. But because they did not even think of it, they were not realistic with what they are going into. They did not discuss it anyway. They were not playing with each other. And issues begin to happen. What other thing can be here? Perhaps it could be Ade or Emeka's mother has told him to get married fast because he's the only child and he must start making babies. And he gets the next available curvy sister or curvy lady. Maybe 2-3 years down the line, babies are not coming. And before you know it, this begins to become a demon, a monster that threatens that marriage, unmet expectation. When situations like this happen, how do you manage the expectations? How do you manage delays? How do you manage disappointment? How do you discuss it? What are the alternatives? What are you going to say about it? What are the reactions? What are you going to give your family? How would you protect each other against the pressures that begin to come in? There are many that will fit into this list, and you can begin to show them on the comments. What do you think can deceive people into getting married? Or what do you think can actually blur their vision or their prospects or their purpose in marriage that would not make them be real in marriages? These are the things that cause unmet expectations. And after all these things show themselves in your marriage, you need to now come down to reality, communicate, discuss, go back to the drawing board, such that that marriage, despite the challenges, will be saved. And I pray that every marriage going through one challenge or the other, the Lord will soothe your pains and will grant you clarity in the name of Jesus. I want to welcome on Instagram Pastor Larry Amuson. Thank you for joining. We celebrate you, Sir Mofab. Thank you. Get to know you're here. You make this session, this show, worth our while. Thank you. We are not taking your time for granted. Yes, let's hear from Oluseye Ogunwale. In this age and time, how does a couple manage the need for children upbringing with the need for financial pursuit? This is one area of conflict in homes. This is one major, this is a very practical question from Pastor Sheye. How does a couple manage the need for children upbringing with the need of financial pursuit? This is one area of conflict in home. Thank you. We are going to be discussing this, and you're also welcome. We entertain contributions from all of us. If you have one thing or the other to tell a colleague, a member of the tribe, please go ahead and do so, because these are very practical sessions. And the question he asked is a very practical question that, you know, we have children. Financially, everywhere is challenged. There's a global meltdown. The children are here. They're already here. And some of us have even lost our jobs. Some businesses are dwindling. How do we do this? We've had situations, even during the COVID, the children were at home, but the parents are not at home because some of the parents need to go out to earn a living. So these are the challenges that are befalling our marriages, and how do we navigate that? So we are going to get to that. Okay, we also have some YouTube viewers. If you're on YouTube, I can't see you right now, but I want to say we celebrate you. We love you. Our YouTube viewers, thank you. My gift of life has given me his handle to check. Thank you so much. Okay, still Pastor Sheye. Thank you. Yes, we are getting live chat from YouTube. God bless you. We are going to attend to Pastor Sheye's question right away, almost right away. Okay, and want to celebrate our sister Kemi Lawal for joining. Thank you for joining. We celebrate you. Richard, our brother Richard Agola, thank you for joining. Yes, it's almost like I was almost taking my eyes off you. I thought I had introduced you because you are always around. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Ah, Mr. Peter Zoro. Thank you for joining. Thank you. We celebrate you. It is all. Thank you. So back to the question that was asked by Olusha Ogunwole. How do we navigate this? Okay, let's start with the intending couples, because some of them are here. Like, I listened to a friend of mine. It is not only children that we came to do in life. For those that are just about starting a family, we beg you, by the mercies of God, begin to discuss parenting now. Begin to discuss parenting, because it's going to help you. And begin to discuss the number of children as God permits and as you plan for. You won't say as God permits alone. Plan for the number of children that you desire to have. In this era, we need to be very intentional with parenting, because we need to be there emotionally for our children. We need to be there spiritually for them. We need to be there financially for them. What this question reminded me of something that many times now we have more parents that are available but are not able to parent well. Please get me. They are available to parent, but they are not able. In another client, we have parents that are not able to parent, and they are also not available. Those are even more. Because in fact, recently we see a lot of kids going out even without breakfast, and their lunch will be gala, because the mother, the father cannot even have 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or 1 hour to make food for the family. I see them in church, and my heart cry, I weep within my heart. Some, they did not plan this is going to happen, but it's happening. So how do we get out of it? It's still about discussing. Number one, we have to discuss. So as a couple, come together, and for you to be successful in this area, you must make up your mind, especially as the husband, not to become a cultural man. Because there are some questions, discussions that you have to be very, very realistic with. You look at your internally generated revenue, your family budget. What is it that is coming in financially for you as a family? And that's in a marriage that the husband and the wife, they are naked and not ashamed. Nobody is hiding anything. How much do you make as a family? Who has more time to spend? If anybody is to leave a job temporarily, who should the person be? And that's what I'm saying. For cultural men, these are tough decisions that must be taken. But COVID has made it easy for us, because many of us are still working from home. Gone are those days that you have to wear suits, coat, tie to show to your neighbor, your family, that you want to enter Third Mainland Bridge, or you want to go out to work. For our viewers outside the country, we don't have issues like that, because culture is not a barrier for them anymore. But if you reside in Africa and you are part of this tribe, it's time to be more intentional, because you might have situations where it may be your wife's job, your wife's career, or your wife's business that makes a greater percentage of what you generate as a family. For many, taking this decision is a challenge, because the cap of wearing a man wearing the cap of a culture, it may not be easy. It may not be an easy challenge to take. Because you need to check out the finance vis-a-vis the time availability. Who comes in earlier? Who should take the care of the children's school? Who should attend the PTA? Don't get deterred as a man. If you bear me witness that in many of our schools, it's only few fathers that attend PTA. Norms have to change. So when you have situations like that, you have to adjust. And if he's still the man whose job is more flexible and earns more, you still have to mutually take care of those children. Secondly, whatever you are doing concerning your children, you are not helping your husband to pay school fees if you are the wife that can afford it. Neither are you helping your wife to bait for the children if you are the husband that is available to take care of the children. You are not helping each other. You are just carrying out your marital and parental duties on those children. Because it is now time to work as a team. You look at your resources, financial, emotional, mental, physical resources. Put everything together, apportion them based on availability and capacity, and without blame game. When situations like that happen, things are better. Personally, in my house, I could say that my husband is a better caregiver when it comes to children, maybe medicine, they're in the hospital, who follows up on their drugs. In fact, if they use one in the morning, I may forget to give it in the afternoon. Sincerely, that is my own weakness. But give it to my husband. As a matter of fact, he reminds me of my own drugs. So when it comes to that, he does not even have to condemn or castigate me on that. He takes on that responsibility without apportioning blame. Who does better with the children's clothing? Who does better with the children's schooling? I can tell you that when it comes to the school, they know my husband better in our children's school than me. Who does better? It doesn't mean that. So that's why I said we cannot afford to wear the cultural cap. We cannot afford to wear a cultural cap. The environment is becoming so toxic and very distracting to do marriage and family that you now have to check what works for you. What works for your family will determine how to navigate this challenge. I hope that question has been answered from Olushele Ogunwole. Thank you, sir, for that very profound and practical question. I'll take this finally as we close. Two major lessons I'm taking out personally, from this session. Marriage is not what defines me. I'm created for a purpose. Thank you. Thank you. I'm loaded with God's gifting. Thank you. This is profound. I'm also saying it to myself. This is what defines me. Thank you. We have to discuss expectations openly and sincerely. You have given us a summary of this. Please, everyone on this show, on this video, please check out this summary given by Dr. Yinka Adewumi. It's actually very instructive and profound. And we'll have to stop here. We've taken longer than usual because discussions, engagements came up. We have talked about expectation management. Next week, we'll be discussing another hot topic. If you're able to join us, please do. Invite your friends. Share the link with your friend. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We have the Facebook Live. We want to celebrate everyone that has joined us. We keep saying we do not take this for granted. This is not the only place you can get discussions, you can get knowledge, but you chose to be here. We thank you for loving us the way you do. We thank you for being part of this tribe. We thank you for doing marriage with us in the way that God will be proud of each and every one of us. We thank you for making the world better through your intentionality. We thank you because we know that generations coming after you, your children, your children's children, their marriages will be better than yours. We thank you because you are gradually becoming mentors for others to follow. We thank you for all you do. We do not take this for granted. Thank you all. And we're going to call it quit tonight. It's been a very engaging discussion. I enjoyed myself. I don't know about you. Thank you, Bolali Oluwale. I celebrate you. I don't know about you. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself. So we'll come your way again next week. I'm going to say goodbye. We love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you. Thank you, Pastor Shea. Thank you, Pastor Inga. Thank you, Pastor Alaba. God bless you. We celebrate you.